Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's show. Can we fix Australia's rental crisis? Now, whether you're a property investor or even if you're just here in Australia, the fact of it is um, we have got a rental crisis. What I want to talk about the cause of the rental crisis and some potential fixes. And, in China, they've got a little one of those squiggly things. And the squiggly thing for danger and opportunity is the same sign. And lots of times when there is something that's bad going on, like the rental crisis, there's actually could be a hidden opportunity. So what hidden opportunity can we discover? And is there a silver lining to this? So what I want to do is I want to invite my co-host on, Ksenia, and then we're going to get into it. Hey, Ksenia, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the rental crisis. You're really zoomed in at the moment. Um,
I'm not sure what's going on. My first time here, so
That's
on
all right.
this one.
Okay. You're coming live from Sydney, and today we're going to talk about the rental crisis. So what I was going to do is I was going to jump in and go through my presentation. Let's talk about why we've got a rental crisis and some potential fixes, and see what the government's doing, and see if the government's doing a good job. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Allow share window. Okay, no, this has turned into a regressive. Okay, I've shared everything, and now we can't. We're sort of in a loop. Cancel. I'm going to try that again. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the rental crisis, and I'm about to share my screen. And this is a lot of fun because I can't find where we are. What can you see in the screen, Ksenia?
It's just sort of a black screen that's showing live, but nothing on it, just sort of black.
There you go. Okay, so we've got a blank screen, and we're going to try to make it unblank. Okay, I'm back.
Thursday technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I love technology. It's great when it works, and when it doesn't work, it's not so good. Now I've got my calendar that I'm sharing.
You can see how much work you're doing. Are you there, George? We might have lost you. Give us 1 second. Everyone? Seems like technical issues on George's end, so I believe he should be joining back in a second.
Okay, there we go. It's calling me Josephine, but that doesn't matter. I'm back. That's the main thing. So
yeah, at least you're back.
Exactly. Let's talk about the rental crisis. So what's happening at the moment? We've got a massive rental crisis, and it is so bad at the moment that there are people in Sydney actually living in little pods. You can actually rent out little pods in Sydney to live in. A long time ago, we used to laugh about Japan and Tokyo, how people lived in these little pods. And now it's happening in Sydney. Not only that, what also is happening is in Brisbane, they've got tents all around the river where people are living in tents at the moment. And you hear about people sleeping on couches, living in caravans, sleeping in their car. And this never used to happen in Australia. We were always considered the lucky country, and we always had enough housing for everyone. Then what happened is we had COVID, and with COVID, that stopped the supply chain, which totally stopped all our building and construction. And what happened now is we're trying to get back in, and it's just not happening. And because of that, we have got a rental crisis, which is one of those things. So, what's causing the rental crisis? Basically, we've got an issue of supply and demand. And I was going to go through some lovely graphs, but I'm not going to do that because if I try to share my screen, all you're going to do is see my calendar, so it's not going to help. And my calendar is not the issue here; it's other things. But I'm going to go through verbally what's happening. At the moment, we've had in the last 3 years the most amount of construction companies going broke we've had in the entire history of Australia. There's never happened before. Costs to build have gone up, but also wages have gone up. On top of that, building approvals has gone right down. The starting of construction has gone right down, and completions has gone right down. So all three have gone down. Now the issue is when you stop approvals, that's got a downstream effect on actually jobs starting and the jobs completing. So it's going to have a knock-on effect. So this rental crisis, I'm estimating, is going to last at least another decade. So we've got 10 years of a rental crisis. It's going to take us 10 years, if we get everything right, this is if we get it right, to get out of this rental crisis. And knowing our government, how they're so good at getting things right, we don't know, right? That's the thing. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. So what is the answer? Well, the government put together a think tank, and this is what they decided could be an answer, right? On how to fix it. One is easing planning restrictions. And people in the chat, type in the chat if you think this is a good one or a bad one. Provide more public housing. Tighten negative gearing capital gains tax concessions. Replace stamp duty with land tax applying to family homes. Remove barriers to building prefabricated homes. Fast track training of home builders. Fast track immigration of home builders. Include the family home and pension asset test. Remove first homeowner grants and concessions. Apply capital gains tax to family homes. That's really going to help. Provide more targeted assistance for first home buyers. Now, we look at all these things that the government wants to do, and in my humble opinion, and I've always got an opinion on these things, they're completely wrong. It's not going to help at all. So they're getting it completely wrong, because the housing crisis is a simple formula, and the formula is supply and demand. And if you've got less supply and more demand, you're going to have a housing crisis. But if you have more supply and less demand, you're not. It's a very simple thing, because if we have enough houses for everyone, we won't have a housing challenge. And getting rid of negative gearing and introducing capital gains tax and all these things is not going to work. What are your thoughts? And the thing is, interest rates aren't helping. So one of the things, the RBA has been putting interest rates up. And now we've got one of the highest interest rates in the Western world, because America recently dropped theirs. That's not helping either. There's only one thing that is going to help, and that is to reduce immigration. We're currently getting 200,000 to 300,000 people a year coming into Australia. If we were getting 100,000 a year, we could easily catch up to supply. But until then, people are going to be living in pods and tent city and everything else. Now, what's the upside? And this is the interesting thing. The upside is the one way people in Australia can help the housing crisis is become investors. And Ben Kane said they're all bad ideas. Absolutely, they're bad ideas. The best idea is, one, we need more investors, right? And we do need more people in the construction industry. But the thing is, we've got a mining boom at the moment, and people are going where the money is. We've also got the government spending a lot of money on infrastructure, and they're paying big dollars as well. So the challenge is builders are finding it hard to compete to actually hire people to build. But the number one thing we can do is we can actually, as investors, buy more investment properties, which is going to help house people because that is going to slow down the rental crisis. Now, the crazy rents that have been going up has slowed down recently, which is great, but we've still got a long way to go. So what's the opportunity? Well, the opportunity here for people is this. When there's a lack of supply of property, what happens is you create more demand. And when you have more demand, it pushes prices up. Now, generally in Australia, prices normally go up around about 7% per year. So at 7% per year, every 10 years, properties double. And that's pretty good. Now, the thing is, the next 10 years, we're going to see an accelerated growth. So if you ever thought about investing in property, now is the best time in history. You know, a lot of people have got FOMO because they missed out on the boom before COVID. They missed out on the boom after GFC. They missed out on all these booms and they're thinking it's too late to invest in property. The good news is the biggest opportunity in property investing is actually around the corner, right? And Leanne Hartley said, but weren't we already up the creek with not enough supply then? And then COVID aid increased migration allowance? Yes, we already had no supply, but now we've got less supply. And so the number one thing we can do now is invest. So get out there and invest because the good news about investing is one, you're going to make a lot of money. I predict the next 10 years, there's going to be more property millionaires made out of property in the next 10 years than in the last 100 years in Australia. Pretty amazing when you think about it. So the opportunity is amazing for people because not only that, we've got a rental crisis and a housing crisis, and it's going to take us 10 years to get out of it. Once interest rates drop, there's going to be another boom on top of that. So we've got a boom on top of a boom, which is accelerated. That's the exciting news. So there you go. So Ksenia, you've just joined Golden Key as a broker.
Yes, yes.
You have.
Um,
Welcome.
and thank you. I'm really, really glad to be here. And I wanted to actually add on to what you were just saying, George, as well, in terms of I have many clients asking me, is it the right time to buy for me right now? I don't know. Maybe I should wait till the rates drop. What I always say is if you can afford it right now, it's always whenever you can afford it, it's the right time. If you can afford it now, if you've got the deposit or equity available and you've got enough income to service the loan, it's the right time to buy. So, there's no point waiting for what if the rates drop or not drop. But what's going to happen with the property market and the prices when the rates do drop. So if you can afford to buy now, I would recommend to buy now for sure.
Absolutely. Jack Page said, how long can we expect the next property boom to last? Look, with property, I look at property as a long-term thing. And having a boom is just a bonus. But I'm not relying on a boom to make me money. What I'm relying on is inflation to build my property portfolio up and build my wealth. Because the real money in property is buying and holding it for a long time. The longer you have it, the better. The next boom is probably going to last about 8 to 10 years. And then we're going to have a bit of a dip. And then it's going to go up again. So it's a very exciting time. It's one of the most exciting times in property. And the exciting thing about property now is, how affordable it is. Because even with interest rates high, you can still get a property for $100 or $200 a week. And when you think about that, that's very cheap to own a property for. Imagine $200 a week, you can get a property and one day become a millionaire just from that one property, which is pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. And also, rates, they may go down this November or maybe next February. but they're not going to stay where they are always. So sooner or later, they're going to drop, because what goes up must come down. Always say that. That's just the fact of it. So there you go. Now we're going to go to our private group, because you're going to meet all our members and our clients, because every Thursday what we do is do this live for everyone, and then we go to our private group. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you're watching the replay, type in #replay. If you're watching the live, type in live. Great to see you. Next week's going to be really interesting. I'm going to announce that tomorrow, but we're going to go to our live, to our SHERP, and talk to our clients. Thank you. I'll see you there.
Thank you.